This is a data mining project presentation on banking data that was conducted to analyze direct marketing. The two group members are John Nguyen and Jason Bryant. This project is for CIS 540 at California State University, Dominguez Hills. Data mining is a great way to research information on marketing for any type of company. In this case, we are focusing on finding the right clientele to market to for a bank institution. After collecting all the necessary information, data mining has helped companies know who to market to and what marketing has done for them in the past. Today we are going to concentrate on 3 different data mining techniques that would help the banking industry find trends so that they can figure out which one of their clients should they focus on the most when they do their marketing. The methods that we chose to use to mine this data were cluster analysis, decision tree, and logistic regression. For this project, we are working with data that was collected from a Portuguese banking institution. The following demographic data was collected from each of their clients. Their ages listed as integers, their marital status, which was listed as one of 3 categories, single, married, or divorced. Their job type was also listed by one of 12 categories, admin, unemployed, management, housemaid, entrepreneur, student, blue collar, self-employed, retired, technician, services, or unknown. Highest level of education was listed by unknown, primary, secondary, or tertiary. The bank also gathered some institutional data. They listed whether the client had a housing loan, personal loan, or any credit in default. They also listed some data on their current marketing campaign to encourage term deposits. How long the client was contacted for, what day and month the contact happened, and what type of contact it was, cellular, telephone, or unknown. Data was also provided on the previous campaigns that were run and if the client is currently subscribed to a term deposit. The data that was provided has 45,211 entries that represent their clients. The mean age of their customers is 41 years. 60% of their customers listed on the data provided work in either the blue-collar, management, or technician fields. Almost 60% of their clientele are married. The education level of their clients is good as well, with 80% of them completing secondary school and another 30% going on to college. 84% of their customers have personal loans and 56% have housing loans, with only 1.8% of them default on any type of credit. The data provided shows that 88.3% of their clients are not currently signed up for term deposit. The goal of this data mining research is to increase the effectiveness of their marketing campaigns to increase the number of clients using term deposit. Their last campaign only had a 3.34% success rate. The data also states that 82% of their customers had not been contacted for the last campaign. The cluster analysis was started with the full set of data, and there was not enough positive results in the goal criteria to make any good clusters. 5 clusters were attempted when 3 did not work for the general data to see if any useful segments could be pulled out of the data, but there was no significant groups. The data was then divided up into the people who had chosen to do the term deposit and those that had not. Then cluster analysis was run on each group with 2 different goals of looking at the data. One was by demographic data, age, job, and marital status. The other was with bank's marketing data, type of contact, day and month of contact, duration of contact, number of campaigns they had experienced, days since contact, and previous outcome. After looking over the statistics in more depth and realizing that many people were not contacted by the campaigns, a cluster analysis was run on the people who were not using the term deposit, but had been contacted during one of the previous marketing campaigns. The demographic segments that appear with the cluster analysis of this data seem pretty clear for the people who are using term deposit. The first and smallest segment is an older group that is mostly retired and still married with a secondary school education. The second segment is decently young with a much better education than the bank's average customer and is still single. The third group is more middle-aged with high education levels and very likely to be married. The groups of people that do not choose to use term deposit make the following segments. The first and smallest group is mostly single, very young, with a low level of education and a high number of blue-collar workers. The second group has a high proportion of single members and a high number of people in management positions with a high level of education and are pretty young. The third and largest group are predominantly married, with a generally low level of education, and are middle-aged. The clients that are now using term deposit fall into the following three segments in reference to their bank marketing history. The first group was contacted the average amount by cellular, but had over 3 times the average call duration and had experienced almost double the amount of campaigns. The second group had an extremely high rate of cellular contact and was about 75% over the average call duration, but experienced less than the average campaigns. The third group also had over the average amount of contact with cellular, and the duration of their calls was almost double the mean of all the clients. They only experienced less than half of the average number of campaigns, though. The analysis of the banking data for those that are not using term deposit showed a trend and provided these three segments. The first and smallest group had the average amount of communication with cellular, but the duration of the calls was lower than average, and so was the amount of campaigns that they had experienced. The second group had less than average communication over cellular methods, and their call duration and number of campaigns they experienced was a little more than half of the average. The third and largest group was slightly below average on using cellular communication, and the call duration was slightly below average as well, but the average number of campaigns that was experienced was almost double. An extra set of cluster analysis was done on the group of clients that did experience the last campaign but are not using term deposits still. This data should provide variations that the marketing department can use to compare to the other groups to modify their targeting for the next campaign. The demographics cluster showed the following data. The first and smallest cluster was mostly married and had a lower education than the average bank client and was at retirement age. The second segment was very highly educated, with almost half of them married and were middle-aged. The third group was close to average in education and mostly married and middle-aged. The clusters formed from the marketing data are as follows. The first segment was contacted by cellular methods higher than average, but was well below average on call duration and experienced less than average campaigns. The second group was almost completely contacted by cellular methods and also had a very low call duration. Almost half the average, but this group experienced almost double the amount of campaigns than the average customer. The third group had high cellular contact rates and was right on average with the call duration, but experienced well below average of the campaigns.
With the data that was provided for us, we will divide the data into three attributes. Numerical, which are age, balance, day, duration, P-day, and previous. The next category would be categorical, which are jobs, marital status, education, contract, month, and P outcome. The last and final attribute is binary, which are defaults, housing, loans, and output. Using the decision tree analysis method, we will create two analyses with these data. First, we will use it to see which clientele we should market to. And the second, we will find out when is the best time to contact these clients. As I mentioned in the earlier slides, we have divided the data into three attributes: numerical, categorical, and binary. These are the results from our first decision tree analysis. The information that we have gathered are from the job, marital status, education, default, housing, and loan category. The top percentage for each category are as follows. In the job category, the blue-collar worker has the highest percentage of opening up an account at 22%. In the marital status category, married people have the highest percentage of opening up an account at 60%. People with a secondary education have the highest percentage of opening an account at 51%. People who are not in default of any loans are most likely to open up account at 98%. People that own homes has a 56% chance of opening up an account, and people that do not have any loans have an 84% chance of opening up an account. The results from the first decision tree analysis indicated that the clientele that the bank should concentrate on are blue-collar workers, people who are married, and has a high education. Plus, the clientele should not be in default of any loans or have any loans. And also, they should have a house. This is the result of the second part of the decision tree analysis. In this analysis, we use the contact, day, month, duration, campaign, P-day, and previous category. With the catalog information in the second part of the data tree analysis, the top percentage for each category are as follows. There is a 65% success rate of contacting a client by calling their cell phones. The best time to contact a client are between the 18th to the 21st day of the month. This has a 15% success rate. Contacting the client in the month of May has a 30% success rate. Keeping the conversation under 300 seconds has a 73% success rate of the client opening up an account. During this campaign, contacting the client 1 to 10 times has a 96.7% success rate of the client opening up an account. There is 81.7% success rate if the client has never been called before for any type of marketing. The second part of the decision tree analysis showed us that the best way to contact the client is through their cell phones. The best time to call them is in the middle of the month and in the month of May. The duration of the call should be kept under 300 seconds, and the best chance of successfully contacting a client is when they have never been contacted before for any type of sales or marketing.
Logistic regression analysis is very similar to the way decision tree analysis takes in the data. Only the categorical data was processed through it. The ones we used were job type, marital status, education completed, the month people were contacted last, and the outcome of the previous campaign. This analysis will help us inform the bank on which clientele to focus their next campaign on, and when the best time will be to do the marketing. The outcome of the logistic regression pointed out two groups of people to focus their marketing on. The first was blue-collar workers and the second was married people. The month of May has the highest positive results for the marketing campaign as well. The banking team should focus on getting clients' cellular numbers and using these for the marketing contact because it also has a higher than average correlation with people using the accounts. The data analysis had a very small weighted error at 9% and a strong probability at 91%. The efficiency rating was only 9% though.
With the data mining techniques that we have used in this project, banks can apply these data to get a comparative edge on their competitors. The decision tree analysis was able to inform us on who to focus the marketing on and when to do it, while the clustering analysis confirms and gives us a more in-depth information on what the data tree analysis provided for us.